Are you sick and tired of being sick and tired? Is your 9 to 5 routine just burning you out and you just want that freedom outside your corporate life? Well, I was in the exact same spot as you just 6 months ago. And I actually did it. I quit my corporate job and I also said bye-bye to that steady paycheck. It's not exactly as I thought it would be. So if you're thinking of doing the same thing, definitely stick around because what I've learned might save you from making a decision that you might regret, or it could also push you and guide you to the direction that you didn't know you needed. Hi everyone, my name is Jean Marie, and if you're new here, welcome to my channel where I always talk about career development and motivations and just juggling that work life and mom life balance. I also talk about my faith and my walk with Jesus. And so welcome to a learnings from quitting my 9 to 5 video. Lesson number 1 is it takes time to slow down. You know that reaction time when you press the brakes on your car? You don't just tap. If you're running like 60 miles per hour, you can't be just down to 0 the next second, right? You need time to kind of slow down, especially if you've been running that fast for a very long time. And so I was in the corporate hamster wheel for more than 10 years. And when I got off that hamster wheel last April, I found myself still running the hamster wheel, invisible hamster wheel. In other words, I didn't know how to not work. I was so confused. I didn't expect that. And I didn't recognize this right away. It took me a couple months before I realized, I'm like, why am I still so tired and overwhelmed? Just expect that once you quit, if you're like me at least, you're still gonna be so busy. That actually takes me to lesson number 2, that life will still be lifing. And I was still so busy, chores still piled up, my to-do list was still never ending. And I had to take on a lot of new roles at home because now my husband had to work more now that I quit my job. And so I had to take on a lot of the driving. Today I will be driving from 2 p.m. to 8 p.m. And there's multiple days like that. So 2 p.m. I have to pick up my kids. Their school is 25 minutes away from here. We get home at around 3, just enough time to prepare food for them to eat because they're like starving every time they get home from school. And then we have to leave for soccer. And then their practices end at like 8 p.m., 8:30. And so that's not even including piano lessons on Thursdays. And a lot of times there's doctor's appointments in between. And so I just found myself like overwhelmed. And I was like, well, this sucks because I'm still overwhelmed and busy, but I don't get that paycheck. And so I appreciated my husband even more because he did a lot of those things while I was working full time because he's always had the more flexible schedule than me. Like he can work more or work less whenever he feels like. And so life was still lifing. That's lesson number 2. Lesson number 3, I realized my job wasn't the problem. And I already knew this even before I left. My job wasn't the problem. It was my mindset at that time. And that's why I knew I needed the break, because I had a great job. I had the flexibility. My pay was good. I had great coworkers. But it wasn't adding up. Why am I feeling so burnt out? Why do I just need a break? Because I realized it was all those years of just being in the corporate grind. Sometimes it just gets to you. And I just needed that breather. And I guess I also needed the time to really appreciate what I had, even though I knew in my mind that I had something good and I appreciated it. I guess I got so used to it that I didn't really appreciate it in my heart anymore. I don't know. I needed a break from just the accountability of being in the corporate world and being accountable to clients and to managers, and I just needed a breather. And so I always knew that it wasn't the job that was the problem, at least in my case. I know it's not the same for a lot of other people out there. There's jobs that are really toxic and that are just draining. I knew it was my mindset. I needed a reset. But also, I heard this, someone told me this, and I truly agree that God will make you feel uncomfortable in a place where you're no longer supposed to be. When He's ready to pull you in another direction because you're meant to be somewhere else, He's gonna make you feel uncomfortable with where you're at. And I really feel like that's what happened. And that's why trusting Him makes everything so easy, because I've seen Him move in my life and I just trust Him when He pulls me to different directions. And it's so important to really have that spiritual discernment. You know, when you spend a lot of time with the Lord and you read His Word, you have the spiritual discernment of knowing where God wants you to be. And I felt like that was really one of His ways to pull me out of that place. Even if, that job was, on surface level, it was good. But I don't know the reasons beyond what His plans are for me, and I'm fine with that. I'm just excited and I just trust my life in Him. And yeah, that was lesson number 3, that my job wasn't the problem, it was my mindset, and that I just needed that reset. And it's important to identify that before you even leave your job. Being able to distinguish between, is it your job that's the problem, or is it just you and the mindset that you're in? Because that will make you and help you make the right decision. If you should quit your job, or maybe you just need like a 3-week vacation, or maybe you just need to talk to your manager, or whatever it is, it's important to recognize what is really causing this burnout and this feeling of wanting to quit. And the last one, at least for today, lesson number 4, is choosing your heart. I see this quote a lot on the internet lately. Yes, working out and eating healthy is hard, but also getting sick and being weak is hard. So choose your heart. In the same way, yes, your job is causing you burnout and it's hard, it's difficult, you have managers and all that stuff. Maybe leaving your work and leaving that job may improve that aspect of your life, but also start to destroy and break other aspects of your life. And I'm not just even talking financially. It could be emotionally and mentally. When you don't feel productive, you kind of feel useless, and it could also bring all sorts of other problems. And so really choose your heart and analyze your whole situation, look at all different angles before you make that decision. I also truly believe that happiness is not a place, it's not a time, it's not certain people that you need to be with. Happiness is within you. It's a mindset, right? And so just because you're unhappy with your job now doesn't mean you leave your job and all of a sudden you're happy. That's not going to always be the case. A lot of times we need to recognize what is bringing us down, what is making us so unhappy. And it could be that it's not your job. It could be like something you need to work on within you. So just make sure to identify that before making like a bold decision. So yeah, lots of lessons during the 6-month sabbatical that I had. I am starting a new job next week, so I'm in my last few days of being unemployed. I never thought I'd say I'm excited to work again, but I am. And it's gonna be a fully remote job, so I'm so happy about that. And yeah, so I hope this was helpful, and if it was, definitely feel free to subscribe and watch out for more videos like this, and I'll see you on the next one.